Hello and welcome to the chemistry topic Earth and Atmosphere, lesson 2, the rock cycle. In this lesson we're going to look at the three different types of rock, the three main types, and we're also going to look at the rock cycle and how these types of rock are formed. Have a look at the pictures here, see if you recognise any of these rocks. Can you think of the names that might be given to them? Can you think of the names of the three types of rock, the three groups that we're going to talk about? What we are going to do first is take a little look at this rock cycle. This is how the rocks are all formed. So if you look at the top part of the volcano there, you've got the exposed sides of the volcano, and that's where weathering takes place. This is where pieces of rock on the side are broken down from big bits into smaller bits. They are then transported. Now, erosion happens to weather and break down those small bits. There are different types of weathering. There might be the weathering where heat is involved, where the sun will warm it and cool it, warm it and cool it. It will warm in the day in the sun, cool in the evening, and gradually pieces of rock will have broken off because the surface of the rock will expand and contract. There is also the type of weathering that involves freezing, so freeze-thaw weathering, where there's a crack in the rock, water gets in, it freezes, that expands slightly, and gradually that over time will break pieces of the rock off. If we go down the arrow, we can then see where the rock is deposited and where sedimentation occurs, because the laying down of the rock means that we will get these layers, and over time the sediment is then buried and compressed, and it'll have all sorts of things in it. It will have plant matter, dead animal matter, and you will find fossils in sedimentary rock. Okay, that can then, uplift can happen also with sedimentary rocks, because then they could be exposed. They could be exposed like limestone is, okay? They would be come to the surface and be exposed. Then the sedimentary rock can undergo large amounts of heat and pressure, and they form metamorphic rock because of the extreme heating and squashing that it's been under. Uplift can occur at this point as well, which means rocks like marble could be exposed. Now, those metamorphic rock could undergo even more heat and pressure and be melted. This will form magma, and that magma can eventually cool and solidify, and it will form igneous rock. And you can see that there as well. The igneous rock will have been formed. That can then be involved in the weathering, and the cycle starts again. So what we're going to look at are the three different types of rock that I showed you just now. So you've got here, first up, you've got an example of sedimentary rock. You can see the layers in that rock, okay? Marble is a lot harder than sedimentary rock, and that's a metamorphic rock there, an example marble. And then also the final one, igneous rock. Looks a bit different, it's a lot more porous, and there are two types of igneous rock. So we're going to look at the igneous rock first. Now remember, this one was formed from the cooling magma. There are two types, intrusive and extrusive. Now, intrusive igneous rocks are formed underground, where the magma is cooled slowly and then gradually they'll be exposed over time. Extrusive igneous rocks are formed above the ground. So in for underground, X, think of exit, they're above the ground, and they've cooled much quicker. This and the minerals that are involved will affect the size of the crystals in the igneous rock. So they're made from the magma that's been pushed up through the crust. You saw that on the image with the volcano. They contain minerals that are interlocking crystals, and they differ in size depending on the speed with which they're cooled. And so the large crystals are formed when the rock is cooled more slowly. Small crystals are formed when the rock cools more quickly. So examples of igneous rock are granite, which is intrusive igneous rock, and basalt, which is extrusive. So the basalt is formed above the ground and it's cooled really quickly, and the granite is formed underneath and cooled much more slowly. Right, next up is the sedimentary rock. We often find fossils in sedimentary rock, which we talked about, and it's formed in layers, so layers of sediment. Now this will form at the bottom of lakes and rivers, but it takes millions of years to form. Now sedimentary rock can also form when water evaporates, and it will leave sediment behind. So it will leave a dissolved solid, for example, salt. Okay, and that can form sedimentary rock as well. Now the layers are cemented together with other minerals, and then, like we mentioned earlier, fossils can be formed in there. You can see from the example there, the picture there, that you might see layers in the rock. Examples of sedimentary rock are limestone, chalk, and sandstone. Okay, so a very different property to marble and granite, for example. Okay, chalk, much softer. Then you've got metamorphic rock. So you can see the image there of a metamorphic rock. This example is the one that undergoes the most extreme amounts of heat and pressure. So the rocks are already there because they're formed as a result of this extreme heat and pressure acting on sedimentary rocks. Like with all of the formation of these rocks, it happens over really long periods of time, and they have tiny crystals, and they do have some layers, but their layers are formed really differently to how the sedimentary rocks have their layers forming. Now, the image there is marble. The two main examples that we'll give you for metamorphic rock are marble and slate. And what you also need to remember as far as rocks are concerned is that they are made up of minerals. So you might have, for example, granite, but inside granite, minerals that might be found could be quartz. So they might be visible as you extract the granite. So you will see different types of rocks, and you will see different patterns even on the same type of rock, and it will all depend on where they were formed, at what point in the formation process they are being found and extracted. Okay, so you need to be aware of examples of the 3 different types of rocks, and you need to be able to name and label all the processes involved in the rock cycle.